In approaching independence, we are coming to this time as a nation where we reflect again on the true nature of our freedom and what our freedoms really mean and what it means to be a people who are free as an independent nation. And in that context, I want us to look again at the kinds of decisions that we are making surrounding this pandemic. In the last week, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader have both encouraged, urged, and pleaded with us to be vaccinated. Both the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. They represent leadership in most of this country. They've all pleaded, I have done it before, pleaded that we be vaccinated. And there are reasons why. And I want to say at some length today to you, when this pandemic started, I am not a medical doctor and I'm not a scientist. I'm a theologian, a moral theologian, a pastoral theologian. That's my field of expertise. But I gathered around me some of the finest minds I knew. My brother-in-law is an infectious disease specialist. He was head of infectious disease in Howard University and has practiced as an infectious disease specialist for many, many years. In the height of COVID, he was seeing 70 patients a day. Dr. Patrick Campbell, who is an infectious disease specialist here. Dr. Michel Montaille, who is an immunologist and a scientist, a researcher in immunization. People like this are the people I have relied upon. Clive, who is the principal of Clive Landis, the principal of the Cable campus, UWI campus in Barbados, a scientist who does this work. These are the people I have relied upon. Dr. Michael McDonald, who is an international health specialist, who has been in every disaster from Katrina on to now. And I've been in regular conversation with these people from day one in this pandemic. My brother-in-law, who is an infectious disease specialist, many years ago when he was in Howard University, had a $6 million grant to study why the African-American population was still contracting the AIDS at a much higher rate than any other population and was not being treated and dying from AIDS symptoms like no other population. And it came down to culture and belief systems. And because of the culture and the belief systems, the African-American population allowed the virus of AIDS to spread. And not only that, they were dying in very morose conditions, whereas a lot of the other populations had understood how to use the available medication to preserve their life. We're having the same problem right now. We're having populations that are contracting this disease at much higher rates than other populations. And the reason for that comes down to one single thing. Well, three things. First, that we are not understanding the science. You have to be 6 feet away. For me to take off my mask here, when I'm saying mask, we put up a shield so that any projectiles from me is caught in with this into this space behind the plexiglass. You have to keep washing your hands. So the mask, the washing of the hands, and the 6 feet, that's the first line of defense. But the second line of defense is vaccination. We know from the figures in Trinidad and Tobago that 99.4% of people who have died from May this year or from June this year, once we started vaccination, 99% of those people are unvaccinated people. That's the science. And that is true for the world. Because in the world, I think the number is about 98 point something percent. So the fact is, unvaccinated people are dying at a much higher rate than vaccinated people. That is a fact. It's a scientific fact. You can't dispute it. The numbers are there. You can't dispute the numbers. So that says something. If we're going to save this beautiful nation of ours, and if we're going to live in some form of peace and harmony, then vaccination is one of the ways that we have to go for the sake of the common good. for the sake of the good of all. Because as long as huge pockets of the country are not being vaccinated, the schools are going to be closed again. The businesses are going to be closed again. Churches are going to remain closed. And social life as we know it is going to remain what it is right now. I don't know about you, but I don't like how we live in right now. I don't know about you, but I meet too many people on the fringe of an economic collapse in their personal and their family life to think that what we're doing now is good. It is not good. It is terrible. But for the sake of the whole nation and preserving what we have as an independent Trinidad and Tobago, we have to make the hard choices. The choice to be vaccinated. So you're going to tell me that the science speaks against vaccine. Great. And I hear you. But you know, a lot of people getting their doctorate on Facebook. And when you get your doctorate on Facebook and you're passing information around, you're not held liable to the same standards of people who are actually practicing medicine. And this is a problem. With Facebook, whatever you like and whatever you are interested in, Facebook feeds you with that information. It's called the algorithm. It feeds you with the information. It sends it back to you. So you like anti-vaccine, you do 3 searches for that. Everything you do about vaccine is going to come straight back at you. It's called an echo chamber. You are put into an echo chamber, and everything you're hearing, you think is all independent information. It is not. It is bouncing around from the same sources. There is now a study that has seen that 12 accounts on Facebook account for 65% of the anti-vaccine sentiments in the world today. 12 accounts, 12 individual people. And some of those individual people made big money because of it. Both because they got money from the amount of likes that they have, and some of them got money because they were peddling products that are spurious in the scientific world, telling you if you take my products you will not get COVID. Well, that ain't work either. There are a lot of people who came out against vaccinations or came out saying that COVID is unreal, and so they're no longer. One pastor very early on in Virginia stood up and told his congregation, we believe in the blood of Jesus Christ. Well, he is dead with COVID, and a lot of his congregation have died with COVID also. The science is the science. We can't fake it. We have to look at it. We have to see it. We have to ask God to help us to deal with it. There's a lot of other spurious theological claims going around. So someone said that, you know, the Catholic Church, Jesus is present in the church, and if you go into the Catholic Church, not the others, you will not get COVID. Well, you know, that's the same Jesus who stood up at the parapet of the temple when the devil said to him, jump. Because you are the Son of Man, you would not harm your feet. The angels will give you a soft landing. And Jesus said, do not put the Lord your God to the test. That kind of thinking is not theological thinking. That's magical thinking, and it has to do with a misunderstanding of our tradition. Our tradition is that you don't put God to the test. There's a difference between faith and stupidity. There's a big, big difference. You don't stand up on a cliff and jump because you're a man of God. You know how many priests in Italy died? And also in India and in all parts of the world have died from COVID? You know how many priests, holy men of God, and they didn't die because of a punishment from God. I know one priest who died, and the reason he died was because many people who were shut in and poor and had no way to get a grocery, he chose to take them to the grocery knowing he was risking his own life, and he died from COVID as a sacrifice and as a martyr. Not because he thought he wouldn't get it, but because he knew these people needed help. That's different. The mythologies and the falsities that we've created around this, brothers and sisters, it's come from 12 people who are influential on the world of internet. If you don't believe me, go and Google it yourself. 12 people who created 65% of the anti-vaccine sentiment. You Google it and see. We are now at a crossroads in our nation. And here's the crossroads that we've reached to. If enough of us are not being vaccinated, the economy will never open sufficiently to stop the people who are now in poverty to come back out of poverty and back into meaningful work. That's the issue. The second issue is that our children are we're going to have a generation of children who would have in and out of school. We could stop that. We could stop it if we made the choice, the sacrificial choice, to be vaccinated. Okay, I know. The super Catholics are saying, yes, but you know them vaccines they made from aborted fetuses. Well, you know, if you go to the Vatican website, to the doctrine for the Commission for Doctrine and Faith, which is the highest body in the church that governs what we actually believe, and their responsibility is the doctrine of the church. They put out a document, and their documents shows why that is a spurious argument, and that has nothing to do with taking the vaccine. And they go step by step why this is so. And if you believe that you're more holy than them, or you're more a theologian than them because you read two pieces of foolishness on Facebook, please, brothers and sisters, there's something called religion. And religion is not about magical thinking. These men in Rome are some of the brightest theologians the world has. And they understand, are committed to the faith in ways that you will never believe. I have met some of them when we visited the dicastery in 2018. These are serious men who have studied this thing seriously. We have to trust them. We have to trust them. And then the Holy Father. And I know some of you are listening to all kinds of spurious things about the Holy Father with a lot of hate and vile put into it. And that alone should tell you that you should not be listening to those sites. Because you see, when Jesus said, upon this rock I build my church, and I give Peter the keys to the kingdom, and that office is passed on from Pope to Pope Francis, I will trust the keys of Peter before I trust any of the others. And yes, popes have done some really foolish things in the past. I will still trust the keys of Peter. And look at what Peter is doing. And look at the Holy Father. He closed churches in Italy in that most solemn day when he walked in the Vatican with not a person but himself. You think that is easy? You think it's easy for me to say Mass with nobody here? I want the full congregation to come back to receive the Eucharist. I want us back in our churches. I want us to be able to celebrate as community again. Every time I say Mass by myself or with a few people, it's painful to me. I'm asking you, please, 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 please. There's a lot of spurious information that is flying around that is stopping people from being vaccinated. The Holy Father was vaccinated. I am vaccinated. We have to understand, yes, I know it's a matter of conscience, but we must have an informed conscience. And to have an informed conscience, I'm begging you, think with the church. There are many people claiming to be right and true. And there are many people who have lots of big fan mail and so on. I'm begging you, think with the church. Today in one of our South parishes, we have vaccines. We've used it as a vaccine site. Why? Because we want to get as many people vaccinated as possible. The way to celebrate this independence and the gift you can give to your country, please, 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 let's be vaccinated. And let's really save each other from this. There is no science that you'll get a chip in your arm that Bill Gates or China will be able to track you. There's no science with that whatsoever. There's no science about the other things. Are there side effects of the vaccine? Absolutely, there are side effects. But you know, the percentage of side effects are so minuscule by comparison to the good that the vaccine is doing. And that you have to look at also. When I wake up in the morning and I get out of my bed, I'm facing risk immediately. When I get out and I get in a car and I go on the road, I'm facing risk immediately. We're accustomed to live with risk. Let's not amplify the minuscule risk while not looking at the major pandemic that is facing us. I am begging you, please, please reconsider. And ask again, what is the church thinking? And how do we think with the church? Thank you.